Hello, everyone. 'Tis I. I want to talk about respect today and why I feel there is a fracture in certain families, not all, and what may be the contributing factor to all of this. I think it has to do with the fact that over time, as divorce took place and happened in quite a few households, the respect for certain parents declined. And I'm not just going to say for moms, but when parents divorce, sometimes it's contentious. And you'll have one parent or both saying, your mom is awful, your dad is awful, look what he did. I'll tell you what he did before, or things you didn't know about him, etc., etc. And that became the beginning, I think, because years ago when families stayed together, even if the parental relationship wasn't necessarily healthy, you had mom and dad, plus all the extended family members, and all your first, second, and third cousins. And if you were raised Catholic like me, also in the religion aspect, you'll have not just your parents, but your aunts and uncles, grandparents, etc., saying you respect your parents, you respect your grandma, grandpa, aunts and uncles, elders, basically, you respect your elders. And because the family unit stayed together, it was always being bombarded from both sides. Even if your parent was abusive, used drugs, was not present, they'd still say you need to respect your mom. And over time, the fracture of the family was brought forth. What, 50, 75% of families, and then you didn't have the inundating from both sides. You now had parents that were at war. And so it was no longer respect your mom, respect your dad. It would start to fracture. So I don't know if you raised in a home like I was, but my parents divorced when I was 12, 13, etc. But also, there were people in my family that didn't have respect for me, and I was bullied in and out of my home, and therefore I didn't have a lot of respect for myself. Went on to, I was assaulted in the military by a fellow soldier. Lack of respect for myself, even more. And that carried over into my parenting, where finally it rubbed off on my children. There was no one around to say, hey, you need to respect your mom, per se. And so that became a downward spiral compared to before, when I was raised, when I respected elders in general. So, anyways, I want to talk about how it's not too late to turn this around and to start to undo the damage, but it starts with you. I don't know about you, but I raised my girls, sacrificed for them, put my life on hold for them, and then they still disconnected. I raised them in a home. They were fed. Even when I lost a job and I had to stand in line for food stamps, I'm not saying we had the most food, but we had food available for them to eat, so they didn't go hungry. Um, I had family, etc., per se. So there was a fracture, and I think over time, because I had a lack of respect for myself and was then also married to their dad, who had no respect for me at all, who exhibited that in front of our children. Um, that, along with the person in my family who bullied me, there was an integral part in there too, where these two individuals, along with others, I think there may have been an encouragement, um, because I don't think they particularly cared for me in general. No, I wasn't talking about my children initially. I'm talking about my ex and other people. And so it, of course, ended up rubbing off on my children, because in a normal family, if your children call you by a first name, there's a grandma or grandpa around that says that you're not allowed to talk to your mom like that. Don't you ever disrespect your mom. And there was a consequence, and someone would step in. But when you have no one stepping in on your behalf, and your children start to disrespect you because you don't respect yourself, it just snowballs and it becomes very, very ugly. So what now? When you're sitting alone, there's no one around, your kids aren't there, you don't meet see your grandkids, etc., and you find yourself at a crossroads. You have to say, you know what? I'm going to start to respect me. I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm going to start to take care of myself from the inside out. That means going to therapy, surrounding yourself with kind people, and most importantly, starting to learn self-love. And that means really paying attention to who you are in your heart. What does your heart need? What does your soul need? What does your spirit need? And you work your way from the inside out. So, anyways, I hope this helps someone. I don't know if this is the answer regarding why parental estrangement started, but it seems to be very prevalent in families of divorced, where there is divorce, where one parent hates the other parent or both parents hate each other. And I'm not saying it's husband to wife or wife to husband. I'm just saying if it's toxic, it's not good. So, anyways, think about it. Take a step back. Take a break from social media. Sometimes you need that break. But, anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'll do a follow up video on this as to what I did to start healing myself. So I wasn't going to be bullied or pushed around or disrespected anymore. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But when it does happen, I nip it in the bud, and it has to cease because I can't do it anymore. I can't play that game. So anyways, that's all I got, and I'll be back.